Sneako is proving himself to be a clown, and 86% of people overlooked 3 habits that are causing that. Let me explain. Sneako, for those that don't know, is part of the Andrew Tate Red Pill movement and has been getting dunked on pretty hard lately. And honestly, a lot of it is of his own making. The biggest self-own recently coming from an ongoing dispute with highly idolized content creator Charlie White, aka Penguin Z0. There are 3 bad habits of his I recognize that are holding him back from moving on with his life and putting this to rest. And the last one is a bit, shall we say, controversial. Ego. Ego is one of the most dangerous things in anyone, especially if it's unchecked, and this may arguably be Sneako's worst habit of the 3. When it comes to leadership and being a masculine leader to other men, ego is the first thing that has to go, because you have to think of others and be selfless. Leadership is about deciding in situations the needs of the many over the needs of the few, and is about being malleable. You have to be flexible to change, to pivot as needed. Thinking you're hot and can do no wrong may fool young, impressionable boys, but it won't fool older men and won't guide them to want to listen to you. Why is this? Because from a strategic life and death point of view, if you were on a ship and had to follow orders from your captain to not die, would you want someone level-headed and able to see the big picture, or someone irrationally self-absorbed in their feelings? Who would you trust to keep you alive? Intrinsically, most men can answer they'd want the level-headed leader because an irrational one will lead to your doom, and they know that. Thus, most people don't follow Sneako, continue to clown on him for his fragile ego. Again and again, you see him being too soft and taking everything too personally. There's a difference between debate and debating a constructive criticism, like I do in the comments when you guys are honest and constructive, and troll you when you aren't,
to help the mighty YouTube algorithm push these videos more.
Anyway, there is a difference between being visibly offended and hurt. Sneako is the latter because his ego is too inflated. Grace and humbleness would go a long way. Vitriol all the time is not leadership, and it isn't positive masculinity. All the time, a positive masculine man needs to evaluate when and where to fight, and when and where is not appropriate. Not every sword is worth falling on. You must pick and choose your battles wisely. Sneako is choosing all of them, all of the time. Agree or disagree? Comment down below. Double standards. People follow people who stand for something. You naturally will make enemies, and part of leadership is being okay with that. The old mantra is that 25% of the people you meet will like you and always will. 25% of the people you meet will like you, but then not like you. 25% of the people you meet will not like you, but come to like you. And 25% of the people you meet will not like you and never will. And you need to be okay with that because it comes with the territory. Ever notice when politicians try and play both sides, they end up losing both sides? Why? Because it's very obvious they stand for nothing but to get your vote. And it's like an ick to see that in people. Hence why most people don't like politicians but can get behind a person like Donald Trump. He has never hidden what he is. He has shown his hand the entire time. But Sneako is not Donald Trump. He acts differently depending on who he is talking to, and people saw and continue to see he has a weak moral fiber. He is beefing with everyone he can either bully because his audience is bigger than theirs, or feels if he saw them in real life he could beat them up. Even though that again is a sign of weak masculinity when your only answer to criticism is weak Neanderthal thinking of, I make you go boom now. Beating someone up for criticizing you or making fun of you just makes you look sillier, especially if it was your random suggestion. But here, Sneako has double standards and can't be consistent. Watch these clips of him wanting to fight a visibly smaller and self-admitted non-combatant Charlie versus what he had to say when someone who is capable of fighting and willing to do so.
I'm not watching your fucking clips. Tell that to your chat. Let's pull up. Were you in Tampa? Say that shit in my face. I ain't watching no clips on Twitch on a bot platform. I know you listening to me right now. You in Tampa? Tell that shit in my face. Nerds have more power than men who could beat them in a fight. I could beat the shit out of Penguin Zero. He knows it.
Sneako, Andrew Callahan, Danny Mullen, come fight me, you
I'd rather sit at home and yell at a camera, tell jokes than, you know, risk my manhood falling flat for Brandon Buckingham, you know, if I lose the fight.
Brandon Buckingham just won his boxing match against Poseidon on KSI Misfits cards. Brandon called you out at the end. You gonna take the fight, Sneako?
I don't give my time to clout chasers.
KSI's recently tweeted saying, Sneako, stop ducking Brandon Buckingham. He's down to fight. Don't tell me Sneako the is scared. then posting another picture editing Sneako to be a chicken, saying 𝙏�𝑎𝑑𝑜odle-doo, and Sneako responded saying, "I'm not scared, I'm actually being sued by him right now for emotional distress. It's a frivolous lawsuit, but I got a good lawyer taking care of it, but that's all I can say about it for now."
You ignored Moist Critical when he brought this up about fighting Brandon Buckingham, and now KSI tells you that you are ducking Brandon Buckingham, and finally, you respond and you say, "Well, I'm not gonna say anything on it because he's suing me." What? He made a response video, said some wild shit back, proving that it was false or whatever, and said, "I want to fight you, fight me, alpha up, man up," and you ignored him. You ignored him. You didn't take any accountability for the things that you said, all right? You didn't come up to the plate and agree to have a boxing match with Brandon Buckingham. So what other options does he have? That's why he went legal, all right? There would be no court case. There would be none of that if you didn't duck him. If you fight him and agree to have a boxing match with him, that whole court case or whatever is gonna get thrown out. He's gonna cancel it.
Some recognized this, but many did not. It only served to make Sneako look more like a fool and a coward as someone who doesn't stand for what he speaks across the board. And research shows people who like this video stand for something. Great content. Lack of growth mindset. This one is a bit controversial for what I'm about to share, and it ties into arguably his biggest bad habit we talked about at the beginning of this video: ego. A growth mindset is being open to change, grow and learn, and have a sense of an open mind and humbleness. It cannot exist within someone with an outsized ego, and it is holding him back dramatically from becoming the best version of himself and from also becoming the leader he is trying to paint himself as. A growth mindset is not only realizing your deficiencies, but taking accountability of them and improving upon them to get rid of them. It takes a lot of internal maturity. You have to be able to stare into the abyss, and when it stares back, you stab that motherfucker in the face. A growth mindset is not static, but dynamic, and the work never ends. And yes, sometimes, if you are genuinely sorry for something, it means apologizing and committing to doing better. That may come across as seppuku and a ticket to getting canceled, but hear me out. It isn't if you are genuinely sorry and don't linger on it. Because remember, some people will never like you, so why would you linger and try and convince them anyway? When people get canceled, it's because you can tell the apology is fake, not sincere, and sometimes they never let it go and keep apologizing for it, like is the case with Shane Dawson, who is still on apology number 8,643 for what he did. Most adults know in their hearts no one is perfect and are willing to forgive and forget if you are also, because that emulates the growth mindset. Most people on Twitter, on the other hand, are the spawn and scum of Satan's fiery asshole who have no lives of their own in their parents' basement, and you should ignore them anyway. You can say, "Hello, it's a beautiful morning," and someone will yell at you on Twitter for it, and probably try and get you canceled while they're at it. Hence, why I have one and never use it, because Twitter. Sneako doesn't have a growth mindset. He is completely static, set in his ways, exhibits no humbleness, and hasn't apologized for being wrong, or even getting clowned on, or nothing. People won't follow like this, and so people won't follow Sneako. Sneako may be Tweedledee, but his compatriot friend Adin Ross, aka Tweedledum, is also in some hot water himself for his unhinged streams on Kick. Watching this video next will explain that and help you understand the full story of this manosphere space. Maybe next week we'll finally talk about Joe Lieberman and Jack Thompson. Woo! Like, comment, and subscribe for more content similar to this one.